from their analytical angle. And the first person is Adebari Ejimakinde, one of our bosses at OSBC Television Newsroom.
Good afternoon, viewers.
And the chairman of NUG OSBC conglomerates, Adeleke Agbola. You are welcome all the way from Ibu.
We are here again in the newsroom. Thank God we are back in the newsroom. Thanks for being there. Good afternoon, our viewers at home.
Yes, as usual, we want to look at what is trending. We are moving from health sector, and we want to look at a particular pandemic that is bedeviling people. Not only in Nigeria, we have seen the effects of this one, monkeypox, in Britain, in USA. We have heard about it in Spain. Also, we learned that there are some victims in some of these very countries. Likewise, in Africa, we have Nigeria to be having the highest number of victims. Likewise, we have some other countries like Democratic Republic of Congo, likewise Ghana, and some other parts. But we want to look at monkeypox. Monkeypox is not. This is not the first time it will be coming. Let me start from Ejimakinde. Monkeypox. How can you describe the second coming of this disease?
The resurgence of monkeypox in the country and even beyond the shores of the country continue to pose a threat to human survival. This monkeypox is a zoonotic invasion. It was common among the rodents, especially in the central and western part of the Africa in those days. Where victims can only get or be infected by having a contact with these animals. It is a deadly disease, and it has some symptoms. Some of the symptoms is headache, fever. The sufferer may be feeling fatigue, and other symptoms also attached to this. So I think once a victim or sufferer notes or observes some of this disease, he or she has to contact the health institution, hospital, to seek medical treatment and advice. So it is a virus disease, and it can only be prevented through vaccine. When you get vaccinated, it will be of help, and medical practitioners will also be able to provide another necessary assistance as regards how this disease can be surmounted. We remember recently we heard about these cases in Southwest, also here, apart from other states in the country. We had cases in Ogun State there, Ondo, among others. So it continues to pose threats, and the health practitioners, they have been warning that everybody should have, you should be very careful when you travel to those affected states, and they should be very careful when you have contact with the sufferer, so that you can do the needful on time.
Okay, thank you. We are still coming to the precaution to that one, but let us have a short break. After that one, then we come back to In the Newsroom.
(3:30 to 4:30). Mondays through Fridays, 3:30 to 4:30. Mondays through Fridays, 3:30 to 4:30.
So in the newsroom, we are having a fuller house, and we are having another journalist from the nation, Toby Adeleke. How are you, sir?
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. Okay, as we continue, Ejimakide has analyzed some of the victims, some of the simple symptoms, and the likely precaution. Then, yes, I want you to tell us about the precautions. What are the things to be done before we go to the hospital cell?
Well, when we are talking about monkeypox, we want to talk about precaution. What is the cause or causes of monkeypox in the first place? If you see an average health officer, they cannot tell you what exactly caused this, because history has it that this monkeypox was first discovered in around 1958 or thereabouts in the colony of monkeys. Some monkeys were kept for research, and that's where it was discovered. So what I'm trying to say is that if you want to tackle a problem, you must have a kind of the knowledge or history of such a problem. So in a nutshell, when we cannot understand the source of this so-called monkeypox, because it is being called monkeypox because it was discovered among the monkeys then in 1958. So we may not actually know how to prevent. We can only work on preventing the spread. When it was discovered somewhere, that means what we can do in order not to come in contact with either person or the animal that got that infection. That's the only thing. And according to the World Health Organization, WHO, they want people to restrict traveling to wherever such monkeypox was discovered. And as a Muslim, that's one of the recommendations of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that whenever there is a contagious disease in a particular community, don't travel to that community and don't allow people there to travel out of the community. And apart from that, I believe we also need to increase our sanitation activities, clean of our hands as regular as possible, using of disinfection if possible. And we need to try as much as possible to avoid getting close contact, even with people that we may not know whether they have it or not. For example, what I'm trying to say is for example, God forbid it, when somebody has monkeypox in Osogbo, that means everybody in Osogbo should try as much as possible avoid close contact with anybody, not that person, or anybody in Osogbo who knows that it is only that one that was discovered. Maybe many people have got the contact. So in the prevention you talk about, we can only try to prevent the spread. But preventing it to happen is like you want to solve a problem, you don't know the source. Let the health officials come out and tell us what exactly is the source of monkeypox.
Okay, Toba, I want you to look at this one. When you're talking about COVID-19, it affected both the rich and the poor. But this monkeypox, when you look at some of the pictures that you have seen and some of the things we have read, it's as if socially it affects more of the downtrodden or the people of lower class than the people in higher class. Am I communicating?
Yeah, you know, it's not as my colleague has rightly said now, it's not a disease of maybe the rich, or it's a matter of infection. So at any point in time when you come in contact, the reason why you see it like that is because it's only the downtrodden that they are like, it's only the downtrodden that they take their pictures. Well, who knows, maybe it's affecting the elite too. So because you know the elite knows how to cover up things, and you know they are very very careful with their image. That's why you are not seeing it. So it's affecting everybody. Same way it's affecting A, B, C till the last as far as the person is still alive. So it can affect anybody. It's not the disease for.
Because you know that the poor people, they always jam pack in there. While you see people, the elite, they have some privacy much more than.
Well, researchers.
How can that one be part of what make it to be?
Yes, that's an assumption, and research has not proven that. But nevertheless, you know, as I've said, that the elite, they are more careful with the way they relate with things, and the way, you know, the way. Even let's start from where the downtrodden are living. You know, it's always congested place, and but the elite, an average elite, you know, there's this kind of a modicum of normancy on how they relate with each other, and how you can't just be by design. So in a nutshell, it can affect anybody, but the way we always undo it, that's why it spread faster among the rural community. So it can also get to the people who are rich, like COVID-19.
Okay, during the any pandemic, you journalists usually go out. I want to start from Ms. Makinde. You also always go out armless. Then how do you cover something like this? Supposing you are asked to go and cover it, because without you, people may not know something about monkeypox. How do you protect yourself against this spread as a journalist?
Well, from experience and the usual practice, you see, one thing that is very, very important is to avoid close contact with infected person. But in the case of mpox and other disease, it's very difficult to identify the infected person in the society. So I think that is why the personal hygiene and some other hygienic protocols have been put in place by the health practitioners that must be observed, including the media practitioners and even health officials as well. The use of nose mask is there, and sanitizer is very, very important. You apply sanitizer, but not just ordinary sanitizer. We're talking of alcoholic sanitizer, which is very good to help to prevent to prevent infection of this mpox, monkeypox. So it's very, very important to apply sanitizer, and at the same time, we know that the health practitioners have always been living up to expectations. I recall the time I went to Elisha during the COVID-19 COVID virus to bury a victim. I was there to cover the event, but thank God that the government and the medical practitioners put necessary measures in place. Those of us that are very close to that area, the health practitioners, they came with their fumigations materials and other things, and they applied it. They were spraying us, some of us that were there. So I think these are part of preventive measures to safeguard lives of the people in the country.
That's if I want to put this one to
and
you.
Isolation also is very important. You know that you just try to avoid, don't sit very close to everybody, anybody, and with the use of disinfectants and it will help to a certain extent.
Okay, let us have it from the World Health Organization. Then what are they doing that is in relation to the world on how to tackle this menace? Likewise, Nigerian health sector, particularly the Ministry of Health. Can you say that they are doing enough?
You see, you cannot say someone is not doing enough or they are doing enough. It depends on circumstance. What I'm trying to say is that if, for example, this thing is spreading so fastly, you can be saying that they are not doing enough. But NCDC are doing their best in the area of trying to let people of Nigeria have this information and what they can do in order not to get contracted. And one of those things, according to NCDC and the DG of NCDC, Jide Idris, made it at the press conference that Nigerians should try as much as possible, try to avoid getting in close contact with those who have it. That's one of the thing they need to do as the organization in charge of such an happenings. So in a nutshell, I cannot use what has happened and that has not taken so long as an instant to condemn or commend them. But by and large, NCDC is doing a great job. And to the World Health Organization, I can also say being the world global the global health body, they are also doing their own. According to the DG, Dr. Tedros Adhanom, he said according to him, the upsurge of mpox in DR Congo and a growing number of countries in Africa constitutes a public health emergency. If you look at this, that means they are trying to tell the world that this mpox we are talking about is all about Africa. That is the painting from the WHO, as if this particular virus is African virus. So our doctors in Nigeria, doctors in Togo, doctors in Ghana, doctors in Benin Republic, in Cameroon, elsewhere in Libya should work and give us the result that will make it clear if this is all about Africa. Okay, is monkeypox about Africa? If it is about Africa, then we need to go to the root of it. Is it man-made? If it is man-made, how did it happen? So all this we need to do it. By and large, I can say they may be working in tandem, but what I can understand is that NCDC is delivering the message of the World Health Organization to Nigeria. It's like a master-slave issue. But my concern, as far as I'm concerned, is that we need to get to the root of this so-called monkeypox in the first place. If you don't know how something came about, then you may not know how to tackle it headlong. So if it is man-made, then we'll talk to those who made it to please let us breathe. But if it is natural disease, then let the medical experts, the health officials work together to ensure that there is no way you can stop the nature, but you can control the nature. You cannot stop the nature from existing, but you can control when something happens that naturally. There are things you can do to stop it from spread.
Or to manage it.
Yes, to manage the situation. So in a nutshell, I can say as my little knowledge, I'm not an health expert, I'm just a journalist, and we were taught to try as much as possible to know something about everything.
Yes.
So, and that is why we are discussing what is not our field. But even at that, what I can say is that NCDC is doing well for now, since the situation is not is still under control. So we cannot say they are not doing well. And for the World Health Organization, say they should come out and declare whether this thing is about Africa. If it is about Africa, Africa should carry its cross in time before it is too late.
Even we have a record of these cases in several other countries. In US, for example, we have a case of 24,004 cases, and likewise in Brazil, we have 8,890. Well, in Spain,
but unfortunately, WHO is critical about Africa.
Yes.
As if Africa
yes.
is
that's the information.
That's the issue.
That is more that Africans are more prone to this.
That's what I'm talking about.
That is happening. It is happening in Europe countries, Asian countries.
Shifting the blame on the That's my concern.
In Spain, we have 2 deaths from this pandemic.
Then we need to do more to let the world know that this is not about Africa.
Thank you.
But the information says that perhaps a lot of death was recorded in Democratic Republic of Congo, maybe in the history.
And Nigeria has the highest. But it happens, it's cut across many other continents.
Institutions.
Okay, Tom, I want you to look at this because I was discussing something comical some times ago that it is common among the common men. Yes, the way people regard things, the lackadaisical attitude of some people to all this one, as Clam identified that whatever the situation that we should learn how to manage and how to keep ourselves clean at all time. But the people's perception, some people still believe that it's not real.
You know, if you know, culture plays a very pivotal role in you accepting some realities. You know, the culture, maybe your experience and the level of education of people really goes a long way, whether they will accept or they will reject. Even the issue of this COVID-19, you know, everybody think some people just felt, okay, COVID-19 is a scam. That's the belief of some people, and it's because of one, the level of their exposure, and number two, education. And some people will even religion, they will just put everything on religion. So which sometimes in Africa we always believe in spirituality. I'm not disputing that fact, but the aspect of spirituality actually, part of the things that we always ask God for is wisdom and knowledge. And science comes by from that idea. So definitely the concept of science is to help humanity. So anything that God has created is to help humanity. So when people just threw out the caution against some of these warnings, definitely you wonder that how are you even existing? So, but one thing I want to actually point out now is, number one, there must be regular campaign to the people, and we must always, as a mass communication student, I will always say that there's a way you can use opinion leaders to educate people. If you, as the head of government parastatal, you are telling the people that this thing and this is the effect of this thing, most of the time they may not accept it. But if you go through the opinion leaders, and the opinion leaders are either the religious leader or the head of the communities or the king, and so if you go through all these people and these people accept it and they start advocating for it, definitely people will embrace it and they will know that, okay, this thing is real. So the concept of monkeypox, our people, Nigerians must always come to that term that this thing is real, and these are the preventive measures we need to put in place to tackle it headlong. And one thing I will add to it is the which you asked the other time about our health facilities. How is it able to contain all these emergencies? Now, you know, most of these, because monkeypox is a is related to zoo disease, and the people, you know, people in the urban area, they tend not to actually have a contact with animals, like those people who are in the village, those people who are in the rural areas. So those people who are in the rural people must benefit from health facility. And I like the vision of the past governor and this present government, who they have been engaging in series of health care to the rural people.
Very proactive.
You understand? So, and this government has actually make it a kind of how will I describe it? A kind of priority. They place the priority on the people in the rural areas, and subsequent governments should build on it. We should not abandon the structures. We should keep on building on it, and we should ensure that the people in the rural area, they have access to those facilities. By that time, this your narration about monkeypox is about those people who are downtrodden. It will change once the people in the rural area they are able to tackle it. So it will be very, very difficult for you to see those people who are affected of monkeypox. So that's my own idea about it.
Okay, let us look at the second one, which is related to illegal oil refineries. And when we look at it, we have seen it from different newspapers and the media reports that there are some places, particularly in some parts of the east, where they discovered some illegal refineries. Even the soldiers, they always go to the place to go and bombard it. The naval officer they bombard it. But when you remember the past government, let us start from that. During the time of former President Muhammadu Buhari, his vice, he went to the east to go and have a dialogue with people having all these modular or illegal refinery. Ijimakide, what can you say about the bombardment of all these illegal refineries? Should it continue or not?
Well, the issue of illegal oil refinery, which is common in the Niger Delta region and other parts of the country, several efforts have been made by past and present government to curtail these similar criminal activities. But what are the effects of this thing, and what happens? Why are these people engaging in the illegal activities? They are just trying to steal the crude oil in order to make money. That's just what they are looking for. So, and it is against the law, the Constitution of the Federal Republic of the country, and the law enforcement agents and other security operatives, they have been trying their best to make sure that they make some arrests and to also stop these illegal activities. But yet, we are getting results, but we have not reached that stage. That's what we have done. We need peace in that area. We remember what happens during the past government, during around that Niger Delta region. The militants rose up. They were just making oil bunkering and other issues. They were just siphon the crude that belongs to the nation, making money. And to a certain extent, with the intervention of the federal government and security, it has been reduced. But what is the way forward? That's the issue. How the issue should be addressed. Well, I'm of the opinion that this issue can be tackled by giving opportunity to encourage modular refinery in that area. There should, instead of bombardment or destroying all these modular refineries, I think they can be empowered. We can just adjust the constitution to allow them so that they can contribute to the development of the economy. Because all these things, we are still wasting the economy. We are still wasting lives. Rather, the lives of the perpetrators as well as the security operatives are being wasted. So we should come out with innovations, how to advance the technology. It is a local technology that needs to be advanced, to be enhanced. So how do we help this situation? I think government should look within these ways on how to give license to them, and so that they can also contribute to the GDP growth of the country. And perhaps we can still have investors who can come to the country to come and assist these people, and we'll be able to advance more than rather than destroying. We have been destroying all these modular refinery and the conventional ones that are illegal. We have been destroying them, but yet we have not gotten the desired result. Tomorrow you still hear cases of oil theft. They are siphoning the revenue of the country, and it is affecting us. It is discouraging investors to come to the country, and it also poses a threat to security of lives and property in the country. So let's sit down, come to the round table. How can we help? How can we make progress? What can be done to solve these problems once and for all?
Thank you. Recently, the NNPC discovered about 122 refining sites in Niger Delta, and the police, the security outfit, they swung into action to the extent of destroying some of the very things. But the cost, what are the costs of oil bunkering or the illegal refinery?
Well, there are different reasons for illegal oil refineries. But let me start with one thing. What is illegal is illegal. We should learn to do things the proper way. What I'm saying is this. I can't because of the fact that I don't have what to eat, go to your house to steal your food. That's not enough reason to steal. Now, what is illegal is illegal. But let's now come back to the reasons you raised. You see, this is a country where the people of Nigeria, in most cases, we don't have the same project at hand. What do I mean by that? Every country of the world, whether being developed, underdeveloped, or developing, needs to have a kind of the project about that particular country. But why is the project Nigeria? Nigeria, as a country, we always follow the crowd. When they decide something and they call it Vision 2020, we rush to it. When it's 2020 and we cannot achieve it, we rush to Vision 2050 and so on and so forth. Exactly. Right. We are kind of unserious people. We are blessed when it comes to natural resources. We are only talking about the oil thing. There are so many ways Nigeria is blessed. But where is our sincerity? Where is transparency in handling the public resources? Where is accountability in the hands of those who are in position of authorities? All these are some of the factors. You can also blame conspirators. There is this conspiracy between those who are even expected to tackle illegal refinery because they are also making money there. Let me tell you this. When people are talking about Niger Delta region, many people will remember late Musa Umar Yaradua for giving a militant there amnesty. But I can tell you that amnesty has both sides, the good and the bad sides. We are enjoying the good side because of the prevailing peace in the Niger Delta. But the bad side is part of what we are discussing now. You have the big men among the so-called militants today. They can they can tell the government that they will disrupt economic activities of Nigeria within 24 hours, and they will do it because they have organized personnel that can do that. It's like we are having a state within the state.
They are government on their own.
Exactly. But they are not just government on their own. They have the backing of the powerful people in government and out of government. And that is where the problem lies. And when you are talking about the causes, you can see there are different reasons now. Yoruba people will say, if you don't have anything to do and people call you to come and do something and they will give you money, and that thing is criminal. You won't look at that criminality, you look at the money they will give you. Since you are not doing anything before, so you don't care.
Taking the risk.
You take the risk because you know they will give you money. So one, the government, not only the federal government, because you ask them, we have NDDC. What is NDDC doing that is directly addressing the problem in the Niger Delta to date? It's like you just created an avenue for people to enrich themselves. Yoruba people will say tabato when you created a commission, you created a ministry because of a particular purpose. The purpose was to ensure peace in the Niger Delta, to ensure that we have stability in the oil sector, to ensure that Nigeria gets what is supposed to get from its oil resources
and improve standard of living in that area.
That's exactly where I'm going. And at the end of the day, you only created a problem to many problems solving a problem. You see people who come out today to criticize a particular head of NDDC, and when you look at the background issue, it is because that guy in court is too greedy. He didn't give them their own share of the booty.
So legal booty.
Exactly. Legal is a legal booty. Is a legal legal resources turn it to illegal booty. NDDC is a government organization, but what they are doing there is not having the real effect it's supposed to have on the people of Nigeria, and that's why you are having what we are having. And let me tell you this: we are looking at the direction of Bayelsa, Rivers, and others. Here in Ondo State, people are engaging in illegal oil bunkering. So the issue is that when the government fails to make life bearable for people, people will find means of getting life bearable for themselves. You can also see this in the number of what do we call it, this type of borehole. Hardly can you see a house today without a borehole when the government fails to give you water, potable water. So when the government refuses to give people what they need, this thing is simple. We gather all the resources of the country in the hands of a very few people. Give us what
to distribute.
To distribute evenly. But if you fail to do it, then people will find means of getting it illegally. That doesn't mean that we don't have some people who are also greedy. There are some people who are greedy that are not in power. If you see people that can boast of having a private university without a legal means of survival than being a militant leader. So you'll be sorry for Nigeria as a country, but everything at the end of the day stops at the table of the government. If we do things the way it should be done, I believe we'll get it right at least 70, 75, 80%. But because we fail to do it the way it should be done, then people are trying to get what belongs to them, quote unquote, back.
Okay, Toba, I want you to look at this one as a reporter and as a writer. NDDC, as it has been described, they have some achievements. Likewise, they have some shortcomings. When you compare the two together, can we say that we can opt for the scrapping of the commission, or they are doing what is expected of them, or the mission which they are established?
My own concept of scrapping or maybe retaining them still lies in the sincerity of the leaders. Now, I will build on what he has said now. I'll build on it about those people who are involved in bunkering, in legal refineries. Between you and I, you should know that we don't have that kind of capacity to run illegal refinery. Before you can go ahead to say I want to start something, definitely you must have some backings. Something must surety your actions. Let me give you an example. In Osun State, they are mining gold in Elisha. Those things that they used to mine gold, they are not cheap. And even the process of mining gold takes a lot of things. So, and I did a report. There was a time I did a report around illegal mining in Osun and all those things, those illegality in terms of mining our resources in Nigeria. I later learned that big people are behind these things. But the one that they show to us on televisions, on newspaper, they are just one out of thousands that is operating. In this town, myself and a colleague was talking, in this town, I can point like 2-3 people that allegedly they are involved in bunkering.
In this
Yes, they are involved in bunkering. And you see, these are the people that they will be romancing the security operatives. So who is going to catch who? So the aspect of the NCDC that you talked about, I can't say categorically that they should scrap it, but our leaders must have a very bold approach to tackle them headlong. If there's any rot in the system, punish the offender. But unfortunately, some of those people who are involved in this illegal legal refineries, they are the ones sponsoring elections. So now anybody that they sponsor to now assume the office, do you think the person will go against them? So it's only few, maybe those people, maybe transaction goes wrong, or otherwise. That's the people that we always punish. And the agency who is monitoring these people, this our oil refinery, which is placed in the Niger Delta, they too, they are Nigerians like us. We are always being ruled by hypocrisy. We are only being ruled by hypocrisy. So all of us always believe. So an average Nigerian wants, okay, how can I get employment into this agency, and what is in it for me to chop? So if you have that kind of mind, your mind is already corrupted before you even have
the nation.
So when you now get there, whatsoever thing that they are doing, either for or against the nation, for as long as you benefit, you'll be okay with it. So the leadership is key for you to sanitize any system. For any system to be as big as this thing, it still boils down to the sincerity of the leaders. So the agents that say, okay, they should scrap, if they scrap, another one will come. The same problem that you solve for the past one that you scrap is the same thing that we face for the next one. So it's still the same Nigerians, it's the same blood that is running in our vein. So you cutting the head because of headache is not the best thing. It's just for us to look at things holistically and find solution to it.
Okay, Jimakide, the past administration, that is president, employed Adeleke, you know the man, Adeleke, to be in charge of the oil bunkering and some other illegal transaction with oil. When President Tinubu came into power, he had some meetings in private with few of them were given, that is to the public. He highlighted that some of those who are behind all these illegal refineries, illegal, that is bunkering and some other things like that, some of them are servicemen. What's your comment about the statement made by Adeleke?
All right. He says so. Perhaps because of his experience, perhaps because of the relations. You recall that this man happened to be the leader of the militia group in that area, a leader of the gunmen, a leader of those that received the amnesty in those years under President late Umaru Yar'Adua. Have you? You see, this man was made a leader within his own group. Are you getting now?
No.
They are gunmen. They are fighting for the welfare of that region. That's how it started. But eventually, he was made a leader, and he has gotten the wherewithal. And by his reputation, by his position, he commands a lot of people and a lot of respect from his people. And that one is because he has been empowered indirectly, monetarily or whatever, because of what the recognition being given to him and the group in those days. Government has held meetings with the leaders, and you know, when they hold meetings, and they will not just be allowed to go like that, and so on and so forth, and all that things that which we cannot be saying on live here now. So they have gotten the wherewithal. Are you getting now? And they have related with people who is who. So he must be speaking out of his experience that some servicemen are behind this. And remember that some ships were arrested, and by the time they trace it, they said it belongs to some big people, some retired security personnel. I think you understand now. So that maybe there was an opinion that they should even be setting ablaze every ship or whatever that is being caught perpetrating in the oil crude theft. Remember that one was caught and set ablaze, and there was highbrow. There was the front at the exercise. It was uncalled for that they should stop that exercise. You can see that this is like a corruption fighting back. some people, some big power are fighting back. That's the issue in the country. And except we address this issue of corruptions, there won't be the desired change which we are all yearning for in the country. It might be difficult to get that change. So in this area, I think there's equality before the law, and that should be upheld at all times. It should be upheld at all times. Anybody found culpable in the oil theft, oil bunkering, should be arrested and dealt with according to the law. There should be no preferential treatment given to anybody. So I think that's the issue that the country has to address. And some other law enforcement agents that have been alleged that have been involving in these activities, maybe through conspiracy or whatever, they also should be dealt with. They should be found and dealt with. The system must be sanitized in order to move the nation forward.
Okay, as you have said, Toby said something that majority of those who are involved, they are like godfathers to some of our politicians. Therefore, it is not always easy for the person who are in office who was sponsored by a supposed bunkerer or the bosses to the bunkerer. But I want you to look at this one: the visit of the Kibo again to President Tinubu. Is it to let him to continue in office as he has been enjoying, as Jimakide has said, or to quench the menace of oil bunkering in Nigeria?
You see, when we are mentioning Dokubo, it's because Dokubo is a boy, quote unquote, to the present government. We've had a government, the Tompolo, the other time. So we have leader of creeks across the Niger Delta, whether you like it or not. That's why I said the problem we attempted to solve by the amnesty then created multiple problems that we are facing today. But everything boils on sincerity. You see, the other time we are talking about NNPCL or whatever, but it is a systemic corruption that should be tackled. Without tackling systemic corruption, we will not get it right. One of the problems, let me state, is how on heart will a regulator will also be a competitor. NNPC as a regulating body, regulatory body, and in the other sector is also a competitor in that sector too. How does that sound? Do you understand my argument?
There must be foul play.
Foul play for that matter, and the consequence will be what we are witnessing now. We need an independent, a neutral regulatory body. Let NNPC Limited go for business. Let a body be set up that will oversee that sector for the good of all. That's one. Two, you see a court-like NNPC. Court-like NNPC. NNPC where you cannot see where they will advertise employment, recruitment.
And new people injected.
NNPC where you won't know when some people retired, except when the leader, the GMD or what they call them, only ends his tenure. NNPC where you will see about 60 legislators of the National Assembly standing up, defending leader Mele Kyari for the purpose known to them. If we, as I said earlier, if we don't change our way, we will continue to complain and complain and complain. At times when I ruminate about Nigeria, it's like this country was designed to fail by those who did it for the purpose best known to them. And unfortunately,
the nationalists, they passed.
Is that?
The nationalists in the country, they succeeded in doing some things, in putting some things into place. And when you compare it now, it is
the
now
nationalists also created some problems we are facing today. If we have enough time and I start mentioning 1, 2, 3, 4, you understand what I'm talking about. Not until we believe in the Nigerian project. I said the other time, there is nothing like Nigerian project. That's the problem. For example, subsidy was removed by the present government, and if you recall, majority of the most popular candidates in the election said they would remove it. Now, when it was removed, what the government is doing as a succor to the pain, to quench the pain from the subsidy, do Nigerians feel it? Who are those people who are working against it? Who are those people who don't want Nigeria to work? This needs to, we need to ask ourselves questions. And at times, when you are in government, maybe as governor, as president, you'll be fearing some people not to step on their toes because you want the second term in office. Not until we believe that Nigeria must work, not because of Jalil Adebisi, not because of Lateef Agbola, but because of the generations yet unborn. If Nigeria doesn't work today, then I'm not sure if Nigeria will work again.
Thank you. Before we go, Toba, I wanted to look at this one. Majority of those who are being used for these illegal means, majority of them are used. What is your address to the youth?
Well, when you are frustrated, definitely, especially an average Nigerian youth, when you are frustrated, definitely always will be way. You understand? So they won't even see anything bad whatsoever, because an ideal hand is devil's workshop. So even now, they are not even seeing it as devil's workshop again. They are seeing it as Osun. So those people who are in my age bracket, they see it as Osun.
What's your recommendation for them?
Well, number one, I want to put it to we Nigerians, we the youth. Most of the youth, they are not employable. So by that, the concept of what former president of Nigeria said, Buhari said that an average Nigerian youth, they are lazy. Is to some extent is right, and to some extent too is wrong. So, but the youth must always look for ways far above materialism, far above what can I do to contribute my own bit to the development of the nation. That should be the question that should be ringing in the mind of an average youth. Not even if you call any youth these days that so person, I see a job for you. The youth will not ask you what's the job all about. He will say, how much you want to pay me.
Thank you very much. I want to appreciate you from the former correspondent to the deputy governor. Thank you, E.G. Makinde, and OSBC NUJ chairman Lateef Agbola. Thank you very much.
Pleasure is mine.
From the Nation newspaper to be Adeleke. Thank you very much for being our guest on in the newsroom today. This is the convenient point. We are going to say bye for now. You are going to join another colleague of ours tomorrow on the 6th, another time. Bye for now.